Florida Sport Fishing TV presents Captain Mike's Rigging Station, powered by Mercury Marine.
What's up, guys? I'm Captain Mike, and welcome to my rigging station. Awesome topic today, Florida Bay. Really unique fishery. It's being fed by fresh water from the Everglades, and the bottom of the state is just pouring all of this fresh water. And then, of course, it meets the Gulf of Mexico, where it gets that influx of salt water. So it's a convergence zone. And I'll tell you what, an incredibly unique, diverse, and abundant fishery for a variety of species. Florida Bay, snook, tarpon, trout, redfish, bonefish, permit, the list goes on. Anything that swims in shallow water, you're gonna find it in Florida Bay. Once you get out toward the Gulf of Mexico and you push the boundaries and you get out there, 30, 40, 50, 60 miles, it's a whole other ball game way offshore there. The water will drop to 40, 50, 60 feet. You've got all sorts of structures, blue holes, towers, and that's where you're gonna find cobia and permit and all sorts of, snappers and groupers, but that's not what we're gonna be talking about today. We are gonna focus on the shallower side. Why? Because it's so accessible to so many guys coming down here in the Keys, and so many different size boats, flats boats, bay boats, small center consoles, but more importantly, even rental boats. So many guys come down here and they go, I rented a boat, what do I do, where do I go? Or maybe foul weather, you can't get offshore on the ocean side, Florida Bay, because it's really so shallow, 5 to 10, 20 feet at the most, out to about 20 miles. It's really accessible for so many different guys under so many different conditions. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, is really share all of this info with you because it is such an incredible fishery. However, in order to capitalize on Florida Bay, you've got to do it right. Okay, there's so many spots out there, it's endless. You couldn't fish all of the spots in Florida Bay in an entire lifetime. There's so many holes, so many small pieces of structure. Back in the day, a lot of the captains used to go out there and create their own artificial reefs, appliances, boat towers, boat hulls, cinder blocks, anything that they can put out there would attract life. And that's in addition to all of the craters and submerged holes and ledges. I'm telling you what, like I said, it's absolutely endless. We're going to be talking about snapper fishing. That's going to be our goal with you here. Regardless if you came down, you rented a boat, you brought your own bay boat, you first and foremost, you got to find the spots easily accessible on all sorts of different charts, fishing charts, nautical charts. If you spend enough time studying the bottom, you're going to find all of these deeper holes. Anything that's different than the surrounding area is going to hold life. What are we looking for? Primarily mangrove snapper, but mixed in with the mangrove, you're gonna find mutton snapper, you're gonna find lane snapper, you'll find yellowtail snapper. The whole family is gonna be there, but it's really the mangroves that are gonna be the most abundant. Mixed in with those mangrove snappers, like I said, you just never know. And that's the cool thing about fishing the shallow water in Florida Bay with the light tackle. Every single time you put a bait in the water, you don't know it's going to eat that bait. So, again, though, I have to stress, to be successful, it's all in the details. So what do? We know where we're going. We've got all of these different spots. I'm going to jump from spot to spot to spot. Some will produce, some will not. I want moving water, okay, because if I have moving water, my chum is flowing, and that's absolutely essential, okay, and that's going to attract life. I'm going to fish each spot 30 to 60 minutes. If I don't see the action, if I'm not getting bit regularly, I'm picking up and moving because there's so many other spots to try. Some days, don't be afraid to fish shallow. 6 to 10 feet of water will produce outstanding results. Other days, 12 to 18 feet might be the key. So I've got a lot of spots dialed in out to about the 20-mile range. And I point that out because once you really go past that 20-mile range and you get out there into that 40, 50-foot depths further off, 40-plus miles, it's a different fishery altogether. That's where you're going to find big king mackerel, the schools of permit, the cobia, and how we rig and how we target those fish, well, that's a different show altogether because that's literally hours of information. The snapper fishing, closer to shore, more accessible for everybody, is a staple, and it's great for visitors with kids, with families, or like I said, if you're just looking for a few-hour fishing trip or you can't get out to the ocean side, don't overlook Florida Bay as an absolute angling mecca. Now understand there's a lot of shallow spots, a lot of, places that are a little bit, sketchy, so make sure that you're a qualified boater, and, if you can see that bottom right there and you see some sand or, stay away from that, obviously. That just goes without saying.
Chaos. Gear matters.
And we got him, baby. We got him. Oh, what a slob! That's what I'm talking about, baby, right there. What a stud. That right there, baby, is deep dropping.
Chaos. Gear matters. Shop online or visit our new superstore for everything fishing.
Buying or selling anywhere in the Florida Keys, navigating the real estate waters is smooth sailing with Nate at the helm. He actually helped me find my home. Nate's also a family guy and has a clear understanding of coastal living. Nate also has first-hand experience in primary residences, second homes, investment properties, and even new construction. And when it comes to buying or selling in the Florida Keys, Nate is your guy.
Buying or selling property anywhere in the Florida Keys, you have to work with someone you trust. I helped Mike, and I can help you.
Tackle. Let's talk about that. Our boat is rigged. In this particular case, we're fishing a 28 Floridian. It's an absolute perfect platform for fishing Florida Bay, but regardless of the boat that you have, anchor, chum bag, all your safety equipment, fuel, I don't need to tell you all of that. That goes without saying as well. Make sure that you're properly prepared. We're going to get to where we want to fish. We are going to anchor. You can drift. Don't be afraid to drift. There's times when drifting across those flats will produce outrageous results, because as you're drifting along, the pinfish are following the chum, they're following the boat, and the snappers are going to be right behind them. So drifting is not a bad idea, but I like to anchor, okay, and pick my individual spots. We're then going to deploy the chum, basic ground chum. You don't need anything super special. And then from there, we're going to be fishing really cut bait. That's it. Just simple, fresh cut bait. Pinfish, pilchards, anything fresh. That's the key. I say it in all of my seminars, and I'm going to repeat it here. The fresher your bait, the more successful that you're going to be. Shrimp works real well, but the problem with live shrimp is all of the little critters pick it off the hook. And before you know it, you're dealing with little 8 and 10 inch fish. And of course, that's just a waste of time. So we like to fish a larger cut bait. Understand though, we're not targeting giant fish. We're targeting smaller fish, relatively smaller fish, but we're using very light tackle. And that's what really keeps it sporty, keeps it fun, and it's all relative, right? If you fished a light 10, 12 pound test, you're gonna have a ball with all of those snappers. Our basic setup, 7 foot, 7.5 foot spinning rod rated for 8 to 17 pound line. This Chaos Gold is an absolute perfect rod for this fishery. It's matched to a Shimano Stratic 4000, little workhorse of a spinning reel, loaded with 12 pound monofilament. That's it. Nothing special. Anybody can do this, okay? Really, really stealthy, really light, really comfortable, really sensitive. The terminal end of the gear is we take our 12 pound test and we tie it to 10, 12 feet of 20-pound diamond illusion fluorocarbon. Okay, provides us a little bit more bite protection, a little bit heavier than the 12-pound mono. There are no swivels, it's very, very clean, and from there, a 2-0 circle hook. Remember, we're fishing on the Gulf side, we're fishing Florida Bay, and when you're targeting bottom fish with natural baits, either live or cut, you've got to fish an inline circle hook. So that's exactly what we're doing. Again, very clean. Okay, there's no weight here. We're fishing shallow water. I like to throw my fresh bait out and just let it drift down and, until it gets to the bottom. If there's, a little bit more current, or if I'm fishing a little bit deeper, say 20 feet, and I want to get past the mackerel, past the jacks, and get that bait on or near the bottom, look, I might use something like a little rubber core sinker. Okay, you can fish a little fish finder type of rig, but nothing beats these little rubber core sinkers. They're so simple to put on the line. You can vary the size, depending on what size that you want. It's like a glorified split shot, and it'll help you present that bait right on the bottom where a lot of those larger mangrove snappers are going to be hunting. Also, it's going to allow you to throw that bait further back in the chum slick, another benefit. You're going to find that the larger snapper in Florida Bay are going to be in the back of the chum slick, way back there. Everything close to the boat is going to technically or typically be small. So don't be afraid to throw your bait way back there. And like I said, that little bit of lead is going to help do that. This is our staple rod, it's our staple rig. Can you do this with jig heads? Absolutely, but we find that it's a little bit of a cleaner, stealthier approach in the bay with very, very little terminal tackle, and you're just gonna end up being more successful in putting more fish in the boat. Now, in addition to this basic rod, and by the way, we bring 4 of these. You can only fish 1 at a time, of course, but just to have some backups, we'll bring 4 that are rigged and ready to go. I want to remind you, every fish, feel your leader. Okay, if it's frayed or nicked, cut a piece off or retie the hook back on. Don't lose fish to tackle failure that could have been avoided.
For over 80 years, Furuno Innovations have helped more fishermen find and catch more fish than any other brand. And we're raising the bar again with Navnet's Easy Touch 3's new PVG and Fish It Drifted technologies. Build your own 3-dimensional shaded relief charts to find trophy fish others have missed. Perform accurate drifts the first time, every time. Be the one everyone follows. When you're serious about fishing, lead the way and get serious with Furuno.
The weather is beautiful and the fishing is great. Captain Pips has the largest rental boat fleet in the Keys, including new twin-engine center consoles. 5 locations, 150 boats ready to fish and cruise. And we deliver. Stay and play in a fully appointed cottage or catch the sunset off your very own Aqua Lodge. For the best hassle-free vacation the entire family will enjoy, no one does the Florida Keys better than Captain Pips. Mention Florida Sport Fishing and receive 10% off your entire stay.
Seeing Zack attack with my own eyes, I'll never pull another trolling lure. Hey guys, I'm Captain Mike and welcome to my rigging station. You've asked over and over, here's the answer. Dubro Fishing. 4 different styles of rod and reel holder mounts for every application. Their ingenious lure and leader keeper system is perfect, either permanently mounted or portable. It keeps everything I need right at my fingertips so I could focus on staying hooked up. Listen, I count on Dubro products, so should you. Check out their full line of innovative gear at dubrofishing.com. Then we step it up a little bit. This is a little bit of a heavier rod. It's 6.5 foot. It's actually a jigging rod, but it's just a great all-around spinner. It's matched to a Shimano Twin Power 5000 loaded with 20-pound braid. I've got the same 20-pound leader material. I beefed up the size of the hook to a 3.0 rather than a 2.0. And you can see in this particular case, I actually have a little rubber core sinker right on the line. So it's just a little bit heavier. Larger snappers, permit, a cobia. I mean, you just never know what's going to pop up behind the boat when you're out there. So if you're getting your clock cleaned on the smaller, lighter outfit, it's always a good idea to have one that's just a little bit beefier and a little bit heavier, okay? But short of that, that's really all it takes. Fluorocarbon leader, 20 and 30 pound, just in case you want to beef it up, you know, if something bigger comes in the slick. Some 2-0 hooks, 3-0 hooks, all VMC inline circle hooks are absolutely perfect. A variety of little rubber core leads to put on the line. Fresh bait. It doesn't need to be live. If you can get your hands on live pilchards, great. If you can throw a cast net in the morning, right by the 7 Mile Bridge by Sister Creek, the mouth to, you know, to Boot Key Harbor right there, or on the other side, Sister Creek is going to hold live pilchards, but you got to be there very, very early. Nevertheless, if you can't get your hands on live bait, it's okay. Just make sure that your dead bait is fresh. Go out there with plenty of chum. You're also going to find bait out there. I should mention that to you. As soon as you put your chum bag in the water, there's going to be pinfish everywhere. Okay? And you literally can scoop them up right out there. So that's a nice benefit to fishing Florida Bay as well. Now, in addition to the snapper that we're going to be targeting, the mangroves, and who knows, an occasional mutton may eat a bait, a trout. Gosh, the list goes on and on. Porgies are out there. You know, there's a lot of porgies. There's Spanish mackerel. There's pompano out there. Anything that swims in shallow water. That's what makes Florida Bay so spectacular. It's an area like no other. It's part of the Everglades, you know, National Park. It's a marine sanctuary, very protected, but wide open for recreational fishing. So many guys go out there and go diving for lobster as well during mini season and, you know, whenever that season is open. And like I said, it's so nice because there are so many different places to fish. It's endless, and it's so much fun because you're fishing light tackle. This is rare for us. We're generally fishing offshore, targeting dolphin, swordfish, wahoo, sailfish, big muttons, groupers, and we're fishing with heavier gear. That's not the case in this fishery. Everything is very, very light, very comfortable, very sensitive. So it's a really cool change of pace, and it's really just a great opportunity to capitalize on all of the wonderful fisheries that the Florida Keys offers. It's not only the ocean side, it's also Florida Bay. And keep in mind the 7 Mile Bridge, right? That leads the way to Florida Bay. That's like the entrance to the angling mecca of the Florida Keys is that 7 Mile Bridge. And there are so many spots around that bridge that are also very, very productive. But I like to get a little bit further out. I like to push it out to that 12 to 20 mile range when fishing for the snappers. When fishing the light tackle, I find that to be really the great zone, we'll call it, okay? It sees much less pressure than all of those spots that are closer to the bridge. I feel like the fish out there, you know, are more aggressive, they're more abundant, often they're larger. So for me, that's the ideal zone to fish. Now, of course, understand, anytime you go out to Florida Bay and you are chumming, you absolutely could expect to see sharks. It's gonna happen. There are so many different sharks that inhabit Florida Keys waters. And there's nearly 20 different species. Blacktip spinners, hammerhead sharks, bonnethead sharks, tiger sharks, the list of lemon sharks, reef sharks, it goes on, bull sharks, it just goes on and on. And they're a lot of fun to catch these sharks in the bay. They really are, as long as, again, the class of tackle is appropriate. And you have to understand, look, it's gonna happen. I promise you, if you go out there into the bay, you're gonna run across sharks. So why not make the most of it? Everybody loves to catch sharks, you know, especially on light gear. And the right outfit for Florida Bay shallow water shark fishing is really nothing more than a spinning rod that you would use for dolphin or sailfish. It's a 7-foot Chaos, 15 to 30 pound class spinner. Basic, versatile, all-around spinning outfit matched to a Saragossa 10,000 size reel loaded with 30-pound diamond braid. I've got so much line on here, I don't need to worry about it. And I tie that braid directly to my shark rig. Now, here's what's really unique And I'm going to show you exactly how to tie this rig. It's very, very simple. Anybody can make one of these shark rigs. But understand that the key is that we don't use wire. We don't use wire, we don't use cable. The sharks in Florida Bay are notorious for being able to detect all of that heavy gear and all of that wire. So we fish straight 300-pound monofilament. To a 9-0 inline tournament circle hook, you can take anything, a piece of bonita, barracuda, heck, a snapper, I don't care what you take, you can throw it out there behind the boat in the chum slick, and it's just going to be a matter of time before a shark eats that bait. And I'll tell you, if you're looking for an exciting, heavy-duty, light tackle challenge, I don't know if anything is more exciting than that shallow water shark fishing. Plus, it's sight fishing. You're watching everything that's happening, especially when you're in that shallower side, 5 feet to 8 feet to 10 feet. You certainly could see the bottom. You could see those sharks moving up the slick. And the key, by the way, if you want to focus on those sharks for a while, set yourself up on a flat, okay? Look around, pay a little bit of attention, set yourself up on a flat where there's a deeper channel nearby, because those sharks are going to be cruising those deeper channels and they'll work their way up on the flat in order to feed. So position the boat appropriately where your chum is flowing across the flat and dumping into that channel. And from there, I promise you, it's just a matter of time before these critters sniff it all out and swim up the slick. But again, it's about positioning. And if you're not in the right position, if your chum is flowing onto the flat and away from the channel, you're going to have a little bit of a harder time. So it is very important that you spend, the necessary time to make sure that you're in the right position.
Amongst cats, there are many lions, but only one rules the pride. Sea Hunter CTS. Carbon Kevlar construction, optimum stability, decisive performance. Sea Hunter boats, factory direct sales, factory direct service. #1 in owner experience. Schedule a zero obligation sea trial and feel the difference.
Don't even lift and pump, just reel. Just reel. All right, come on, somebody get in there, crank. Got him. We got him. You ready? Nice. We got him. Get him in the boat, ready? Oh! Flip it onto your rod. Never jeopardize losing a rod, ever. Getting back to the snapper fishing, I have to tell you, some of the benefits of Florida Bay, not only the variety, not only the great eating fish that you're catching, because the mangrove snapper arguably is the best tasting of all snapper out there, but it's year round, 365 days a year. And actually during the winter time, the action in Florida Bay really heats up. That's when you could expect to see just an absolute slaughter Spanish mackerel fishery, just completely blow up in the shallows. Great alternative. Not what we're targeting. You are going to need a little bit of wire, some long shank hooks. You can target those Spanish mackerel with artificials or with natural baits. And once again, that's a different show altogether. That's a great fishery. But the snapper fishing, the mangroves, some muttons mixed in with them, that's a 365 day a year fishery. And it just continues to get better and better as those water temperatures drop, okay? Don't expect to find the 30-inch, 32-inch trophy mutton snappers that we catch out on the wrecks. You're not gonna see a lot of those size fish in that 8 to 20 foot range as far as the depth is concerned. Certainly once you get out past that and you go out to the abandoned towers that are out in the Gulf of Mexico, definitely you'll see some larger fish out there. But in that 12 to 20 foot range, if you find yourself with an 18 to 20 inch keeper size mutton, be happy with that fish, but they'll be mixed in with the mangroves. I can't stress enough what a great fishery that is for visiting anglers. If you're renting a boat, you don't know where to go, you want to get in on some action, Florida Bay is your answer. If you headed offshore on the ocean side, you're fishing on the reef or yellowtail, and that bite you just can't get dialed in, Florida Bay is your answer. If you're bringing a boat down yourself, a bay boat or a small center console, heck, even something in the mid-size, 25 to 35 foot range. I've seen guys out there in 40-something foot boats. As long as you can, get your way around that shallow water, there's plenty of action to be had in Florida Bay. It's a fantastic fishery for local fishermen, for visiting anglers, boats of all sizes, 365 days a year. But I have to stress, keep your tackle light. That is the key. In order to have a lot of fun out there, you've got to fish light tackle. If you start thinking that you're going to go out and fishing 30-pound, 40-pound, 50-pound gear, and some of the stuff that you would typically fish on the wrecks for groupers and muttons on the ocean side, you're going to find that that's going to do a lot more harm than good. Okay, keep it light and sporty, and you'll really be able to maximize on that fishery. Always check your leaders. I say this during all my seminars and on all my shows, and I'll drill it down your throat again. Constantly check your connections, constantly check your drag. If your line is frayed or nicked, don't wait for the next time to, redo it. Fix it right there and then. Eliminate tackle failure, eliminate angler failure. And at the end of the day, you're going to catch 90% more fish. I promise you that. And if you're just learning how to fish here in Florida, or you want to, hone your skills on fishing the Florida Keys, I want to remind you to please join Florida Sport Fishing TV Plus. On our streaming channel, you're going to find 600 instructional videos just like this on a wide variety of different topics that are designed to make you a more successful angler.